Why should I continue to support Israel? Asked one of our Orami congregants when I was visiting the synagogue last February. That question arose because of actions promoted by the then new Israeli government, considered to be the most far-right and religious one in Israel's history. This government desires to change the face of the country. The coalition agreements include unprecedented policies that will give more power to ultra-Orthodox religious institutions that eventually will harm the rights of many minority groups. This government's declared intentions and desired future steps include the following: redefining who is a Jew, amending the law of return by removing the grandchild clause so that only people born to Jewish parents rather than Jewish grandparents would receive automatic citizenship, revoking state recognition of non-Orthodox conversions, rejecting the conversions done by Rabbi Paul, Cantor Kyle, and me, and thousands of non-Orthodox rabbis around the world, including Israel. Legalizing gender-separated public events, paving the way for the government to pass a law exempting yeshiva students from military service. And this is just the beginning. I understand why some Jews in North America worry that Israel is no longer a country of their pride and joy, and want to disconnect their attachment and support. Having said that, I would like us all to consider some additional viewpoints to this very complex and nuanced situation. Although this current Israeli government gained power through a democratic election process, many Israelis, including large numbers of those who voted for present coalition members, feel like the government is taking their slim majority in an aggressive, power-driven direction, ignoring minorities and pushing through laws and, more importantly, budgets to bolster the right-wing ultra-Orthodox agendas. One of the first actions taken by this government is understood by many as a constitutional coup, trying to create so-called judicial reform, which would reduce the oversight power of the Supreme Court and allow the government to be both the legislator and the executive authority. In this scenario, no other official body would be monitoring government actions. First steps of this reform have already been taken, endangering, according to many people in Israel and around the world, the very foundation of Israeli democracy. In response, over the last 9 months, millions of Israelis have embarked on the largest social protest ever seen in Israel during its 75 years of statehood. During the last 37 weeks of demonstrations, they have evolved and expanded to over 700 locations in which millions of people are marching in the streets every single week. They come out with signs, flags, songs, slogans to protest against judicial reform, but also using this unique opportunity to cry out loud about various painful issues of injustice inside Israeli society, including the trampling of women's rights, LGBTQ rights, the Arab-Israeli rights, and the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. I wish you could see the protests firsthand, because they are truly incredible. I took my own personal kids out of school multiple times so they could see and experience a living example of freedom of speech and the evidence of the Israeli public's dedication, stamina, and grand desire for a better future. I am truly inspired every single time I attend and see people of all ages and different religious backgrounds put up a fight by showing up and recommitting to an Israel that we all believe in and care about. There is no doubt that the protests are effective. Although several problematic laws of the judicial reform have been put in place, many others have been put on hold. All sectors of Israeli society are affected by it. More and more people join in various ways, including reserved officers and pilots who are refusing to continue their volunteer reserve duty service if the reform continues. For some of you, the question of supporting Israel transcends this or any other government. Israel claims a central place in your heart, and I thank you for that. Yet others may struggle with their connection and support. And for you, I want to address the question, why should you continue and support Israel? The state of Israel is 75 years old. It is only 75 years old. It's very young for a country. Ask yourself, where was America when it was only 75? And yet, in only 7.5 decades, Israel has become an international power of education, medicine, pharmacy, science, technology, military, and innovation. It made a barren desert bloom by developing state-of-the-art irrigation systems and agricultural technologies used all over the world. Israeli organizations are the first ones to be on the ground of any international crisis, offering supplies, help, and support, whether it's a tsunami in Haiti, the ongoing war in Ukraine, the fires in Maui, or the most recent earthquake in Morocco. And yes, just like any other country, it is far from being perfect. Like some of you, I am worried, but I am also hopeful. This last year was a historic year, and it seems that the new Jewish year will be even more so. One of my favorite verses in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible, is in the book of Eicha, the book of Lamentations, a verse that we sing when we return the Torah scroll into the Ark. And actually, it's the same verse that Cantor Kyle sang at the beginning of this evening. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, chadesh yameinu kekedem. Bring us back, Holy One, and we shall return. Make our days as they were, kedem, as they were before. Israel has a strong foundation of kedem, of beforeness. We have all Jewish people who lived before us to thank for that. Now, it is up to all of us to make sure that Israel will also have a strong kadima, which means going forward into a bright future. The relationship between the American Jews and Israel is core for that happening. I often ask myself about the essence of Zionism in the 21st century. Theodor Herzl, who envisioned a Jewish nation-state, was a Zionist. So were the founding fathers and mothers of the State of Israel, inspirational leaders like David Ben-Gurion, Menachem Begin, Golda Meir. Millions of olim, of new immigrants who came to Israel from all over the world, feel like they're fulfilling their Zionist dream by making Israel their home. You see, for over 125 years, the purpose of Zionism and the joint project of the Jewish people was clear. It was building a national home, fighting for the fall of the Iron Curtain, bringing the Ethiopian Jews to Israel, and so much more. But what about today? What does Zionism mean in 2023? What does it mean to you? And what is the current Jewish joint project of our people? I believe that the role of Zionism in our time is fighting for the future of the State of Israel. And the joint project of the Jewish people nowadays is reconnecting both with Israel and with Jewish communities around the globe. In the same way that those generous American Jews collected $50 million when Golda Meir came here to ask for their support in May 1948. And as those 50,000 brave Soviet Jews came to meet her in that choral synagogue in Moscow on that Erev Rosh Hashanah later that year. So why should you continue to support Israel? Because we are family. And this is what family members do for one another. We support and love each other, even when we strongly disagree at times. Because once you're born into a family, you cannot leave it, no matter what. You can fight for it. You can strive for it to be better. You can and even should disagree when things are going wrong, as long as you don't renounce yourself from it. Because when you care, your heart is in the right place. Even at times when continuing the relationship can be painful or embarrassing or both. This evening, we are welcoming the new Jewish year. One of the most beautiful verses we say this evening is Hayom Harat Olam, which means today the world is pregnant. It's pregnant with possibility. It's pregnant with newness. It's a new year. I am new to most of you, and we are new together. As an Israeli, and as one of your rabbis, whether you agree with what I shared or are challenged by it, I'm asking you to give our joint national home a new chance. Please don't give up. Continue to support the State of Israel. Educate yourself. Travel there and explore with Congregation Orami or on your own. Participate in the many conversations about Israel that we begin right after the high holidays. Challenge me with difficult questions. Do your best to understand Israel's complexities and the nuances, because Israel is so much more than what you see on the news. And remember, we don't walk out on family. And also, the State of Israel is way too important for the Jewish people to leave it to Israelis alone. Your support matters now, maybe even more than ever before. Lashana Tova. Happy New Year.